What would you do if a stranger endangered his own child just to confront you, then called the police with a web of lies to get you arrested? In today's story, the protagonist's response is a masterclass in how to turn an aggressor's own words into the very trap that ensnares them. A few weeks ago, I was driving through my neighborhood, going about my daily routine. The community is a small, private one. It used to be all summer homes generations ago, and you can walk from one end to the other in about 90 minutes. Part of my routine involves playing a little Pokemon Go, and at the edge of the neighborhood, there's a Pokestop. For those who don't play, you get bonus items for visiting a stop every single day, and this particular day was my 7th in a row, the big payoff day for the week. I drove up, collected my bonus items, placed my phone face down on the passenger seat, and started heading home. The speed limit on that road is 20 miles per hour, and I was being extra cautious, going maybe 12 or 13 miles per hour. I'd been in a car accident recently, so my number one priority was driving as safely as humanly possible. I came up a small hill and rounded a corner, and that's when I saw a family walking. As I approached, the wife, her friend, and a couple of their kids all sensibly stepped to the side of the road to let me pass, but the man, let's call him Mark, did the exact opposite. With a young boy, maybe 3 or 4 years old, perched on one arm and a Budweiser bottle in his other hand, he actually lurched closer to my moving car and bellowed something at me. My heart jumped into my throat. Given my recent accident, I immediately stopped the car, rolled down my window, and asked if everything was okay. "Are you guys alright?" I asked. "Why did you do that?" Mark glared at me, his face a mask of self-righteous fury. "You see my family, right?" he snarled. "Yes," I said, confused. "What about them? You know you were driving too fast for this neighborhood, right?" he accused. I should mention I was in a loaner car with Wisconsin plates while my Illinois car was being repaired from the accident. I kept my voice calm. "Sir, I was only going about 12 miles per hour. The speed limit is 20. I wasn't going too fast." "Well, you almost hit me and my son," he shot back. That's when I felt a flash of anger. "Yeah, because you stepped toward a moving vehicle," I said. "The only one putting your family in danger was you." His eyes darted past me and fixed on my phone sitting on the passenger seat. A smug look spread across his face. "I don't know the laws in Wisconsin," he said slowly, "but here in Illinois, you can't be on your phone while driving. I'm calling the police." "I don't know their laws either," I replied. "This car is a loaner. I live here in Illinois." "Then you should know the laws," he yelled. "I'm calling the cops." "Have fun with that," I said, and just drove away. Honestly, I didn't take his threat seriously. I hadn't done anything wrong, so I figured he was just blowing hot air. I got home, which was only a 2 or 3 minute walk from where the incident happened, and started making some ramen. As I was sitting down to eat, I glanced out my dining room window and nearly choked on my noodles. Mark was standing on my lawn, on his phone. He had followed me home. He was talking to a dispatcher, and a cold knot of dread formed in my stomach. I was screwed. As some online have pointed out, there's no way this guy should have known where I lived, and I should have been more aware. He must have started walking over the second I drove off, and I was so focused on getting away that I didn't even notice. 5 minutes later, 2 police cars pulled up, and 3 officers got out. I stepped outside, my mind racing, preparing for the worst. "Let's call the 2 main officers Davis and Riley." Officer Davis spoke first. "Leo, do you know why we are here?" "I have a pretty good idea," I said, trying to sound more confident than I felt. "But why don't you let me know?" This revealed Mark's greatest fatal flaw, his blinding arrogance. He was so convinced of his own victimhood that he couldn't conceive of a reality where his own actions were the problem, a trait that would ultimately seal his fate. "This gentleman called us," Officer Davis said, gesturing to Mark, "saying you attempted to run his family over after you got caught texting while driving and going way over the speed limit." My mind went blank. Attempted vehicular manslaughter. That's what this prick was accusing me of. After a few seconds, my brain rebooted. "Sir, that couldn't be farther from the truth," I said, my voice steady. I was driving home after playing Pokemon Go. This man stepped closer to my car as I was driving by. My phone was on the passenger seat the entire time. "He's lying," Mark screamed. "He nearly killed my family. Arrest him now." "Sir, calm down. We'll settle this," Officer Riley interjected firmly. Then, Officer Davis turned back to me. "Leo, what was this man doing when the incident occurred?" And right then, An idea sparked in my head. The revenge began. He was walking with his family. I began painting the picture for them. He was carrying a young boy on one arm and holding a beer bottle in the other. "That's not true, you piece of garbage," Mark sputtered. "Sir, control yourself," Officer Riley warned. I continued. As I drove by, the rest of his family moved aside, but he actually stepped closer to my car. I think he got within an inch of my vehicle. "This is BS. He's just trying to protect himself," Mark insisted. Officer Davis looked at Mark sternly. "Sir, if what he is saying is true, you could be the one getting arrested here, not him." He then looked at me. "Are you sure that's what happened?" "Positive," I said, locking my eyes on Mark. He got way too close to my moving vehicle while holding a child and a bottle of Miller Lite. And then came the moment I'll never forget. It was the perfect trap, sprung not by my cunning, but by his own intoxicated pedantry. It wasn't Miller Lite, it was Budway. He cut himself off, but it was too late. The air grew still. All three officers slowly turned their heads and stared at him. He tried to backtrack, stammering and waving his hands, but the damage was done. The third, silent officer finally spoke, his voice low and serious. "Sir, have you had anything to drink this evening?" Mark's confidence evaporated. No," he stuttered. They escorted him to one of the patrol cars and administered a breathalyzer test. The result, 12%, well over the legal limit. "Gotcha, you a-hole." Mark ended up confessing to everything I had said. He was arrested for public intoxication and child endangerment. As one commenter later joked online, maybe he'd ask the judge to throw out his admission, because I was clearly too drunk to know what I was doing. The officers asked if I wanted to press any charges, like for filing a false police report. I said no. He was already facing serious consequences and had to go before a judge to determine if he was a danger to his own family. Honestly, a big reason I declined was that I was already dealing with a court appearance for my recent traffic accident and just didn't want to step into a courtroom again if I didn't have to. He had enough on his plate. This story is a powerful reminder that when you point a finger at someone, you should make sure your own hands are clean. An aggressor's own lies and recklessness can often become the very instruments of their downfall. So, what do you think? Have you ever seen someone's attempt to get another person in trouble backfire so spectacularly? And what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have pressed charges?